Hello everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. So today we are on day number 17 of Junk Journal January. And oh my goodness, it is so cold outside. It is minus 26. I am not planning to leave until I absolutely have to tonight. Okay, so we're starting with this, and this itself is pretty whimsical. This is a piece of strange bubbly paper that came in some packaging that I want to use for a project today. So we're going to be doing a bit of a wet media kind of project today, and it's completely experimental. We're going to see what happens. So that being said, I need to start with creating tags from a couple of folders, and probably we'll try to do let's try to do 3. I think 3 is a good number for this, so I'll only need one folder here. I'm not going to use book page today because I need something a little stiffer for what I'm doing. So let's cut these out. Trim this off first here. Okay. Then I can cut this better. Move my coffee cup. We're skipping tea today because it's a coffee day. One. To get rid of that little lip. Wide one, a tall one, and where'd the other half of my folder go? Right there. I think this was the one. It might not be. I took my daughter to the bus this morning, and oh my goodness, it's so cold. I'm like, ooh. I mean, I'm thankful for it because we need it to be cold at this time of year, but yeah. I also don't love going outside when you feel like your face is going to just freeze off completely. Oh, there's the other half of my folder. Okay, so now I need, what do I need? I need, where's my glass mat? Hold on. Yes. So, the objective for this right now is glue, and you want to glue this on here. So try to just cut to size-ish, enough of this to fit on top. Cut this into 3 pieces, roughly, not like perfect. After all, this is about whimsy, right? 1, 2. So that'll cover that one. And 3, hopefully. Yep, just good. Okay, I'm going to use some tacky glue for this because it's wet. And I want this to stick. All right, then just grab a palette knife here. We're gonna get messier today. It's okay though. So the objective is to stick this down, but not to crush all the bubbles, which could be a little challenging, not gonna lie, but it's only step 1 in a multi-step kind of thing we're going to be doing here. It feels like it's getting adhered. Yeah, that's fine. Good. Okay, next one. Every glue I have seems to be so cantankerous. I bought this glue as like an experiment, but I've decided it's just, it doesn't have anything special about it, so I'm just using it up at this point. I thought the bottle would make it a good glue that would be ready to go immediately, and that's what it's sold as because it's an upside down bottle. But it's not, it's still really hard to press open, so I just like to get the glue out. So, and it doesn't dry fast enough to like make me excited in any way. It's a very, very low rent boyfriend of a glue, you know, it's just not that great. Okay. Just looking at the best side, I think it's this side. Oops. And it's not like sticky or grabby enough to like do a big job. It's kind of a run-of-the-mill normal glue. Okay, that one's on. Last one. Let me try glue stick with this one. See if there's any discernible difference. I assume there will be because, you know, glue stick is not as wet and bulky, but we'll see. Just apply it liberally. Oops. I'll even put the glop on there, that's fine. Now, this one. Actually, I feel like this is already working better. Aline, you got work to do. You got work to do, girl. Your glue is not good enough. Okay, perfect. So now what I want to do is trim this at the top only a little bit closer so that I can cut the tag at the top. So I get that shape down. Okay. One. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the same thing with the other two. I'm going to cut them like this, and then I'm going to go to the sewing machine and I'm just going to stitch this all down so that that layer is adhered. Okay, before I go do that, I need to correct one thing. Actually, this adheres a lot better than the glue stick. It's not trying to come up on me at all now that it's sat for like, you know, 30 seconds. So if I compare the two, so look at the glue stick. It's kind of like I'm sort of on, I'm sort of not. This is on. It's not trying to come up. So this is the better option for this, okay? So before I give a rating to something that's inaccurate, I want to prove it out and correct myself. It is a much better option. All right, off to stitch. Okay, all stitched around, and so now what I want to do is go around and just clip off the excess. Turn off my alarm. So today is a little bit of a quieter day. I've had a couple crazy days. So I'm hoping to get a little bit of yarn spun. I got a little bit done. I have one yarn that is done, but it's potentially spoken for already. And I'm working on spinning up smaller samples, like minis of hand spun yarns as well, because I know I've had a couple requests for more of those pack of sweets type yarns in my shop, and I need to get going on that. I've been carding beautiful wools today in the morning. I did a little bit, and it was a lot of fun. Okay, so I want to do 3 different kinds of tags today. So this will be the first, and we're going to be using Liquitex Gloss Medium and Varnish today. So this is a fluid medium. It's quite wet, and it's by intention because I want to have it be light enough to maintain the bubbliness of this. So all three of these are going to be experimental. The first one, I'm going to just decoupage a napkin, and then add a focal point. So this will get these layers of the napkin up here. I don't need to keep this. I've got enough that kind of thing kicking around. So I'm just going to start by coming in with some of the liquid medium. And I'm going to just actually put it directly on the paper, like so. And then just sort of gently soak everything. And it needs to be wet, first of all, to stick. Also, to like bring that texture through, it has to be fully adhered. We don't want to crush it though, so that's why I'm using this wet medium, because if it was like a less wet medium, we'd have to use more pressure to adhere everything, and I don't want to do that. So now I'm just going to lay down my napkin on top of here. Hold the top and give it a tug from both sides to just get it on there. And then something like a sponge would be good to do what I'm doing right now, but your hand also works. Just kind of gonna go in and with my fingers and just feel the texture and like push it down on there. Okay, and then I'll lift the whole thing. And I'm going to cut away the excess napkin, and then I'm just going to set this one aside to dry, and we'll move on to the next one because we need these to be dry for them to be worked on further, okay? But the texture's still there. This is very busy, so you kind of lose the bubble, but the texture's there. So I think that'll be interesting for another reason. Okay, so next, this one, and I wanted to do an experiment with this book, Fishes by Brian Wildsmith. It's a lovely book. I'll put that in my papers to use. Let's go with this maybe. Or is that not tall enough? Should be okay. Let me think. Whimsical. These are all whimsical. This one is good. This is what I want. Okay. So this is a little bit thicker. So it may or may not allow me to keep my texture here, but we'll see. Ooh, that's a lot of medium, but it's actually not that bad. It might even be better to have this one be more wet, because then it'll soak into the book page. We're kind of trying to like make all of this get wet enough to adhere and become one and take on the texture of this packaging paper. So fun experiments. Let me just line up the fish's faces so that they're on there. And then I'm actually going to hit this with some water because it's thick book page. I'm trying to weaken it a little bit. If my water would spray, I gotta fill this bottle again. So we'll just water those fish a little. Okay. And then we'll just rub everything. I feel like I'm definitely gonna lose my texture on this one. But this is why we experiment, to see what happens, right? I could do all this in my private time, but then I wouldn't be showing you anything. And that's kind of boring. Okay. It's going to be a cute tag anyways, regardless if it has that bubble texture, because it's just, you know, the fish are really cute. Okay. So let's just set that aside to dry as well. Put that in my scraps because that's beautiful. Now we need to clean up. And I do not have any paper towels down here. I got to bring some up. Or down, rather. Just wipe all this away. Okay, so then let's wipe all the medium off the brush. We're going to be done with the brush for a little bit. And the third thing I wanted to do, oops, did I bump you? There we go. Let's dry this again a little more. Get all the glue. The third thing I want to do is paint. Just do a bit of dry brushing kind of with paint. Do I have a paintbrush handy? Did I grab one? I'll use this one, even though this one's kind of a gluey, gnarly one. I'm just going to use some random paints here. This is Rose Quartz Modern Masters Metallic Paint. This is like old paint that I've had for a long time. It's like a sample from like the hardware store. When you want to paint something, you just get the little samples. And it's a rose quartz, so it's a really nice color. It's pearly. So we'll get this on. Okay. So the paint itself, when it's dry, it's going to strengthen the texture of that tag being bumpy like that. It's going to strengthen that all up. So now I'm going to use a little of my favorite Delta Cream Coat Paradise to add a little bit of blue. You could also jelly print with this paper and it'd be a fun experiment because it would leave like a fun mark on your jelly, and it would also add the paint to the paper in a neat way that I think would be fun for collaging. Then a little of this, whoops, this is Deco Art Dazzling Metallics in Peacock Pearl. And I need to shake it a little bit. There we go. Get some of that. Yeah. Okay. So that is wet, more wet than I even want. Let's get a piece of paper. I'll come in here with this and just remove some of the paint, but don't be too heavy-handed. Oh, that's cool. That'll make another cool thing. So like I said, using this paper for jelly printing would be really fun. Because like, look at it. That's awesome. And then look at the texture. Okay. So now everything needs drying time. So let me clean up a little bit and let this dry, and then we'll come back. Okay, friends, new development. So I was starting to dry these, and I just decided that this paper, in fact, is just too thick. It's going to make me lose all the texture from this, so I decided to separate them. And I do still quite love this tag, so I'm going to keep it, obviously, and we're going to do something else whimsical with it that I have a fun idea for. And we're just going to let that dry for a moment, and I'm going to do a different media with that, okay? So let's work on this for a second. Probably add a little more glue to just adhere it a little better. I'm going to stitch around anyhow, but I just want to adhere it while we're doing what we're doing. Okay. Good. Now we'll cut this out. Yeah, I just sort of feel like I don't have a lot of that bubbly paper. It just came in a package randomly one day. I don't remember if it was Amazon. It could have also been, it might have been David's Tea, to be honest. I think it may have been. And I don't want to waste it because it's cool. Okay, so my idea for this one is a little different. Where is my circle punch? Right here. So what I want to do with this is I want to punch out some circles. Just in the water, not on the fish themselves. Okay, so now we have all those circles, which will be something fun we can do with those too for something else. So those will go in my little snippety bits. Now remember, The paper that we created by printing this, it's still wet, but I want to put it on here as a layer behind. So I'm going to dry everything. We'll come back once I dry everything. We'll do this, we'll do that, we'll do all the things. Drying time is done, and I'm back with the 3 dry tags. So this one we have lots of work to do. This one is really nice. I love the texture. I love how it's kind of hardened up. It's very fun. This one, you probably can't see the texture. I don't know, but it's there. And I like the feel of it. It's nice in the hand. So let's try to progress on these a little more here. So the first one, to add a little more whimsy here, I want to add one of my little chestnut dolls. I feel like they're so completely whimsical, so it's like a really good add, and I like how the bee will kind of be beside her. I think it matches sort of her emotion. So this one, we'll just get it glued down. You could also choose to back this with something heavier if you wanted to make this more solid, if you're using it like an art piece or on the front of a journal or something like that when it's laying on top of this texture. But I've printed this on like a heavier weight paper, so I think it'll be okay. I just have to maybe give it a little press for a moment just to support the whole structure of the paper, so the art glitter glue can just kind of take hold and sit down for a moment on the texture. Yeah, okay, now it's down. That's good. All right, so let's set that one aside. Now, what I want to do on this one is I have this. It is icing paste from Finnabair. I have not used it yet. It's in the color Fire Ruby, and it's really pretty, but I've not used it, and it seems like it needs to probably get used a little soon. It's pretty thick, this stuff. So I'm just going to brush it on. I have no clue how this stuff dries, so we're just going to play with it because, like, it's really cool and color changey. Like, I don't know if it needs like a black background or not. I should probably put some book page under here so I don't completely destroy my desk with this stuff. But I'm putting it on top of a layer of glue as well. So this is an experiment. I think it'll go fine. I think this is a paint, not a wax, so it should be okay. And I'm hoping that we see the color change. Some of these things, you gotta, you know, pay attention to the mediums you buy and if they're effective or not. I find some of them, they make promises that they don't stand behind all that well, so yeah. So while that burgundy tag is drying, I want to move on to the next project. So I needed a focal point for this, and I found this lovely illustration. This is from, what's her name? Gyo Fujikawa. She's a children's illustrator and author, and so this is a giraffe, and it says, "May the garland of friendship be evergreen." And I love it. I think it's really beautiful. I'm obviously going to have to trim it a little bit to use it, but I thought we could play with this with my beam paints. So we'll do a little bit of watercoloring on here to make a fun focal point for this. So I know there's a little bit of paint in this little pot already, so hopefully it doesn't bother me. Let me just see. This is the color that I want to use on my giraffe. So this is beam paint, and this color is amazing. This is wild salmon, and so it's like a reddish orangey pink color, but it has a kick of the most incredible gold sparkle behind it. It's just beautiful. I'm not going to go too detailed down here because I think I'm going to be losing most of the giraffe's butt. So we're just going to color this in with watercolor. and it is just beautiful. I always stand by Beam Paints. They're my favorite brand of watercolor. They're Canadian, Indigenous owned, natural, plastic free, incredibly pigmented. They have a massive range of amazing colors. This particular collection, I love it because it's in this beautiful shell. And there's some sage in there, and it's just, I don't know, it creates an experience when you sit and paint. I love using it when I'm outside, and it just feels like very magical to sit with these paints. A little ear and the little horns. I love giraffes because I feel like they're the most delicate yet enormous animal. Like, they have those tiny little horns. Okay, so yeah, I love that color. That's a lot of fun. Then we need some color in the garland. I don't want to go with that dark green. I'm going to go with this lighter green. This is also, I think, a metallic. Yeah, it's got mica. This is fiddlehead green. So we'll go in and just sort of maybe a circular motion. And this is just book page. This is not watercolor paper, but it's pretty nice. Okay. And a little over here. And I won't bother with the grass at the bottom because I think I'm going to lose that grass. Then I'm going to come in with a bit of the gold. This is their Dreamer's Gold. They have a few different colors of metallics of each of the range, like gold, silver, copper, you know, so I like to mention which gold it is. So I just want that to be like light, you know, nice and light. So I think that's all the painting that we need to do. So now that one needs to dry. So we'll set it aside for a moment. Move my paint and my water out of the way. We'll let that dry. And then we'll come back to, remember that paper that I printed this on? And I said I wanted to use on the backing of the fish tag. So that's what I want to do. I want to put that on there. And the way that I want to do it is with some art glitter glue. Just a bit of a heavy application around the edges. Not like super heavy, but you know, not that tiny little line. And then I'll come a little into this space, but not a whole ton, because I want it to have a little bit of backward kind of lift. So press, press, and this will also serve as a backing. And while we're here and we have watercolors, why don't we add another level of interest with a bit of this. This is let me see the color here. Pumpkin spice. A little bit of the pumpkin spice, just because, you know, that's the color of the fish. It's got that goldy kind of color to it, so we'll add a little bit of these. A little bit. And then maybe just come in with a little, another color of that metallic-y pink color, and just kind of swirl it around. And let's just see, how would that look on the edge? Brush it in a little. It'll just give a little metallic. Just kind of smoosh it in with my finger. I could also just do it with the brush. Yeah, let's do it with the brush actually. Okay. Now we'll move these out of the way again and cut this out. Just a little corner there. And I'll keep the rest of that painty paper because it will come in handy for some kind of collage. So we'll just cut off the excess and keep that scrap. There we go. So we'll let this one dry now too. Everything is drying and drying and drying. Let's see how our watercolor is. Yeah, it's about there. I'll just give it a quick hit with the heat gun. And the nice thing about beam paints, if you use heat to dry your work, they do not lose any of their sparkle or pigment at all. Sometimes when you use different kinds of sparkling mediums like mica powders, you've got to be very careful embossing glazes rather, embossing powders. You gotta be very careful because you can sometimes burn out that sparkle, right? Okay. Oh yeah, that's a lot better with the color than it was with black and white. So now what I'll do is I'll just come in here and glue down the majority of it, and then we'll clip away what we don't need, and then we'll have it done. I think I need to refill this glue bottle. Actually do it this time and not just talk about it. It's amazing how long art glitter glue can like run on basically the fumes of the glue. It's like okay. That right there. Then we'll just press for a moment so it can grab. Good time to just have a little moment. Okay. Then we'll clip away the excess. And then we'll come in and glue what didn't get glue. Okay. And actually, I think I'm going to clip away this excess white space here. That can go, and then between the legs here can go. Need to get the edge of this little garland. And glue the leg down again. There we go. Just look for anywhere that it looks like it's maybe rising up a little on the texture and just pop some glue in there. Okay, that's so cute. I like that one. Right, so that's drying. That goes with that. Now, this one. All right, so it's dry-ish, I would say. I like how it feels. I'm not seeing color change. I'm not seeing any of that blue. I'm just seeing the burgundy. So that's disappointing, but I'm not going to cry. I'm going to move on and I'm going to find something I want to put on here. So I've got, these are the other bits that were left over from that Fujikawa. I might use some of this on here if I tear that off. I wonder if I could match him up here. Would that actually kind of go together in a weirdly whimsical way? I think it will. Let's do it as, you know what, no, because it'll cover all this. If I do that, I'll cover all of it. We'll do that on a different tag, not in this video. We need a focal point for here. Let me grab one moment. Okay, so I found a focal point, one of these dolls from my little bin of my paper dolls back there. So what I think I want to do with her, because I'm still grouchy I didn't get any color change from that medium, is I want to make this interesting in a different kind of way. And I think what I want to do is just layer a bit of fabric kind of here and there behind her. Just a few different things from my scraps. And I don't want to fully glue them down. I want them to be a little unruly and whimsical. So that's what we're going to go for. So what I'm going to do is actually go over to the sewing machine and I'm going to stitch this doll on. I'm going to stitch all the way around her. I'll be right back. Alrighty, so we are all done. I stitched her on and then I did a bunch more sort of freeform stitching all the way around and then backed everything again. And then here is our fish. I stitched around the edge of that, but left these. I'm really happy with that. I think it's a fun way to add a little interest. And then our sweet giraffe with that highly textured fun paper. You could also do this with embossed paper if you wanted to. And then the napkin one that has kind of a softer texture, but it's still there. And my little chestnut doll. If you're interested in these, I'll link them down below. They're a fun little collection of chestnut colored little dolls for making ephemera or whatever. That being said, thank you for hanging out with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye for now.